Welcome. My name is Crist. I'm the founder of the Jaguar path, and this is Shaman's view. The whole idea of Shaman's view is what it says, is that shamans view the world differently than the rest of the people do. I myself lived a very mainstream life for the biggest part of my life, till my 40s, till I was 40, and I was diagnosed with cancer. And was actually given a really grim image of the whole situation and 3 months to live. And that really stopped me on my tracks, stopped me on everything I was doing. I had a very successful career as a photographer in Athens, Greece. But with that, I was stopped. It's what is well known as the cosmic 2x4. With that, I decided that I need to start traveling the world. I just needed to find any miracle workers, any people, healers around the world, shamans. I did find the great doctors of the National Institute of Health in Washington. I did one surgery, but I know very well that if I had just left it at that and returned back to the life that had led me to cancer, I would simply go down the same path and have cancer return. So after my surgery, I traveled to Mexico, I've traveled through Peru. I found amazing teachers in Peru. Amazing teachers and amazing healers. And with my studies with them, that continue close to about 17 years now, I changed my view. I changed my view of the world. I changed my view of how I see things, how I think, how I feel. And I like to share this. I like to share the shaman's view, because the shaman's view is what Carl Jung had described, had said really well about the I Ching. He said it's uncommon sense. It is really clear to me, and I think to all of us, that common sense has driven us to where we're at. I would say, and not a really good place. Uncommon sense is that place of returning back to feeling oneself, to feeling deeper than just the shallow thoughts of the narrator. And this is where the shaman's view enters, and why a shaman thinks, feels, reacts, acts, behaves differently than others. It is really clear to us that we have a voice in our head, or two, or three, a committee up there sometimes, that tells us what is right and what is wrong, that more often than not tells us that things are not right, or that I'm not good enough, I'm not tall enough, I'm not this enough or that enough. More often than not, it takes away our power. And sometimes it guises itself as being modest, but usually and really truly it is just a voice that takes away our personal power. That sense, that self rather, that sense of self that we have, that inner voice we think is ourself, thinking of what we like, what we don't like, what we want to do, what we don't want to do. All those thoughts that essentially we say define who I am, or express what I stand for, are not our true voice. This voice is a voice of the collective consciousness, the collective. It's the common sense. I have these thoughts that are logical in accordance with the rest of the people around me. Because if I have thoughts and I think differently and I act differently than everyone else around me, then I probably will be kicked out of the tribe. When shamans look at the way we think, we really re-examine, and we really begin actually not to believe, not to listen to this voice. We kind of quieten this voice down And this is what all spiritual paths lead us to and invite us to investigate, right? All meditations, like meditation or yogic practices, Taoist practices, Tai Chi practices, they're all geared, they're all shamanic practices, and they're all geared to quieten that voice down, which is very, very loud. And somehow, because it's common, it's very persuasive, and then we buy into it. So these practices are about quietening this voice down so we can hear that deeper voice, the inner voice that is quieter, the knowing voice that is quieter and taps into intuition, taps into the greater knowing of the bigger reality that's imposed, a larger understanding of being. A lot of the way we think and analyze things are essentially, I'd call uncommon sense, and also just a way that really unveils fear, uncovers that sensation of insecurity, and allows one to sit amidst everything that is happening in life with a courageous and vulnerable heart. We listen to this voice, and this voice keeps on narrating mostly drama. We go through our life, or I used to, until the cosmic 2x4 stopped me. I go through my life by having thoughts about this person or that person, thinking about people that I disagreed with, things that people had done to me or didn't do that wasn't enough for me, and it's sort of like a voice of a complaint. A voice like, if I didn't have all these things happen to me, then I would be able to express my full potential. But I am sad, or I am angry, or I am anxiety filled, or I'm confused because so and so did that, and so did that. And the idea is, while trauma is real, and I respect people's trauma as the traumas that I carried with me in my life, if I don't get over the voice, if I don't get over this voice that shouts, I want justice, or I want things to be put in place, or where's the manager? If I don't quieten that voice, then I won't be able to change my endocrine identity, that chemical reality that is within me, which is exactly that chemical reality that will bring dis-ease into the body. So I'll close with two stories that are shaman's view stories. I was with a very dear friend at this house in Peru, in Pisac, in a little village, Pisac, Peru. And they had, the kids, when I say, had drawn this beautiful puma on clouds, and they wrote the word hotel. So it wasn't really a hotel, it was a house in the middle of the village. And it was a place that I always liked to stay at, and I still do, mostly to support the family. It's absolutely basic, absolutely basic. So I was there, and I was there with my friend, and we were chatting in this hallway kind of like reception area, and we heard the third person. There's only 3 rooms for rent there, so we heard the door slam upstairs, and the third person that was renting a room that previous night was coming down the stairs, thumping down the stairs, mumbling, blah, 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 blah. And when he turned around, he saw us. He says, do you guys have hot water? And we said, no, we didn't have hot water. I don't know that the village has hot water, let alone this specific place. I didn't say that. We just said no. We just focused. He says, well, where's the manager? And we kind of like looked at each other, my friend Zach and I, and we said, hey, the manager's right over there. So he turned around the corner and went to the front desk, which was 2 barrels and a piece of, I think it was half a door. And as he went there, he found this 6-year-old girl that was behind the desk. And he said, I didn't have hot water. And when he arrived there and saw that it was a 6-year-old girl, he said, well, where is the manager? Was there someone here? And the girl was like terrified because this American was so loud and so upset, and this 6-year-old little child. So she went inside, and she came back with her 11-year-old sister. And her 11-year-old sister said, yes, yes, with a little bit better English. She said, can I help you? And he said, where are your parents? And she said, my parents are at the potato fields. So here's where the manager is, in the potato fields. If we go around in life not assuming responsibility for our choices, and then we try to find the manager to complain to, we will always be walking around in life with these conversations in our heads. And as the sun is setting behind the mountains here in the Peloponnese in Greece, I will say this with the last light. I had this voice, and this voice was saying I'm dying, because that was the diagnosis I had received. And I had found a shaman in the middle of the jungle of South Peru, close to the borders of Bolivia. And I was on my knees crying, and I said to him, save me, please save me. I have a 2-year-old son back home, and I'm dying, and I want you to save me. And I was crying, and he turned around and said to me, he just kind of like stopped as if he was totally off put, and he said, I don't believe in my own emotions. What makes you think I'm going to believe in yours? And oh my God, I'm like, I heard that, and it was just like I got smacked in the face. I was just like, whoa, and it's just like, I stopped crying. I was just like, I got off my knees, I cleared out my eyes. I'm thinking, okay, I'm in totally the wrong place. This guy is not compassionate. This guy is not a healer. It's like, well, how on earth could he even say that? And as I dried out, and I was just kind of ready to find the words of like, you know, how the hell can I get a boat to get out of here, out of this place? He looked at me, now that my eyes were dried and I was standing and was getting my power together. He put his hand on my shoulder and he said, okay, hermanito, my little brother, now you look ready to do the work. Let's start the work. Let's see how we can heal this. I love that man till today. I love that man deeply, because he helped me separate not my emotions necessarily, but the narrator's voice. Now when my emotions are present, they're present with a shaman's voice, with my heart's voice, not with a narrator's drama voice. I'll leave it at that, and I'll let you take what you want from both of those stories. I know those are 2 stories of many that have changed my entire life, my entire way of thinking, and they're a big part of my apprenticeship with the shamans, my apprenticeship with being close to death, with leaving and letting go everything I owned, and letting go of everything that I was, and having a backpack and starting all over again. I still till today have that backpack, and have several times since let go of the place I lived to start anew, and then again let go of the place I lived and start anew. So from Greece, as I've just arrived a week ago, literally again with a backpack, starting anew, here's a shaman's view. Find that manager within you and follow your heart, not your narrator. I hope this is helpful to you in any way, and I look forward to sharing more. Have a beautiful, beautiful day.